So, hi everyone. Welcome to another webinar. Today we'll talk about how we can train for your next big ultra with limited time. I know that a lot of times we don't have, or we say we don't have enough time to train. And some distances that like Mark that is training for race across Scotland is incredible. And one of my beliefs is that even with a race like race across Scotland, 200, well, it was 345 kilometers, 290 miles, 100 milers, 200 you don't need really that much more time. You need more efficiency. And what we'll talk today about is why we struggle with time and training, identify what we need to work on, um, and then I'll share with you running resilience training. So it's part of the framework that I'm using for my athletes. And then we'll have a Q&A session. So most trail runners, they fail not because they don't have time, because we all have the same amount of time. And I know it's cliche, but the reality is we fail because we waste the time or we train not intentionally. So for example, we do random runs. So let's say, yeah, I'll do, I don't know, a midnight runners run, 10K. And then you go and do races and you feel sorry for yourself, like myself in the past. It's like, yeah, the terrain is bad, the race is bad, this is bad. It's like being a victim. When in reality, when you look back at your training, you see, oh shit, this wasn't intentional. It was just long runs. Then you do everything. You do a bit of Spartan with your belly out, where I should have been losing more weight, not doing Spartans, or doing long runs in Gran Canaria because it's fun. And end of the day, I think we need to focus on what's our main goal, what's our main priority, and rather than focusing on I need to do just more long runs, we look at the structure that we have. So Anya, for example, she finished destroyed 50 kilometers UTS. It's a race in Wales, very hilly. And then we started working together. And she said, "Look, I have this race." We weren't working together before when she finished destroyed. She came to me after, and then she said, I want to train for this race, 100 kilometers, 110K, but I don't have the time. And then I looked at her training for the whole year and analyzed it from Training Peaks. And I realized actually she has the time. She just need a better use of her time. Because if we don't utilize our time, if we don't become effective, races become survival missions. And that's the worst place to be. Because when you're in a survival mission, it's like you're not enjoying running, trail running, you're just surviving. And what's the point? You can go and run by yourself without a race and just enjoy running. And usually the problems, they don't start in week 3 of your block. The problems start in 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers, 70 kilometers. Then your legs start to give up. Then you start to feel more fatigued. Your heart rate goes through the roof. That's when you see the result of your training. You never see it really on week 4, on week 5 of your training block, because the training block is like, yeah, I feel great. Towards the end, I'll share with you a framework, running resilience training, which is it will show you exactly where your weak points are and how you can train them so you can finish strong. Most of the conversation are happening are VO2 max, lactate threshold, and running economy. Running economy, not so much, but a lot of on VO2 max and lactate threshold. They're all good, but the challenge is that they're all lab tested. Everything is done in a lab. But on race day, after 50K, after 60K, that's a different story. That's why the fourth element, durability. And durability is the most important element in endurance running. And maybe, I don't know, but I think maybe we don't talk about durability because VO2 max is easier to understand, or because, I don't know, marathon running, and I don't know the reasons, but durability is what durability means is how fresh you are at a 50th kilometer, how fresh you are at 60th kilometer. How many of you understand the concept of durability? Can you write in the comments, like, what do you think durability is? A second. So, um, just to see chat. So in one sentence, what is durability for you? Sustained effort. Yeah. You can have two athletes at the same with the same VO2 max, durability for how long you can run without exploding. Yeah, yes, Christine. How long you can run exploding, okay. Um, you can have two athletes, right? Same VO2 max, endure more, able to endure more of the load. Yeah, you are all right. You can have the same two athletes with the same VO2 max, come from a lab testing, but by kilometer 50th, 60th, one runner is controlled and strong and going towards 100K. You can see that his running form is perfect, and the other one is collapsing, but their VO2 max is the same. So the only difference is durability, because the first athlete, he trained, let's say, VO2 max, he's great, but he's not durable. Able to, okay, um, so durability measures fatigue, and the most important element in durability is working on your fatigue, working when you're tired. But if we dive deeper, there are two elements of durability. One is aerobic durability, and the second one is muscular durability. Now, our goal is to find out where the weakest point is, where our weakness is. Aerobic durability is how efficient you are over time. So, for example, you're running 50, 60K, and your heart rate stays the same. Muscular durability is when your body, your quads collapse at 60th kilometer. How do you know what is weakest? First of all, aerobic durability is measured by heart rate. So you do a long run, for example, and it can be 30K, and your heart rate and your pace stays the same. But if your heart rate goes up and your pace stays the same or goes down, it means that you need to work on your aerobic durability. But if they stay the same, they're coupled, and this leads me to cardiac decoupling. So cardiac decoupling means when one goes up and the other one stays the same or goes down. So it means when you know that you need to work on your aerobic durability, it means that you have to work on that, and to find out is just go on a long run. If you use TrainingPeaks, there is data. I will speak a bit later how to find out. But once you know that your aerobic durability is a weakness, you have to prioritize that. The goal basically is to have the pace the same and heart rate the same. That's it, in simple English. Now, muscular durability is when you're going, let's say, downhill halfway through, and your quads are giving up, or your form. The biggest, when I see runners doing races, the biggest thing that I notice if they don't have muscular durability over their week is their form collapse. You can't really observe it when you are running because obviously you're tired, but when you look from the side, you can see, the form, the head is down, everything is collapsing. That means your muscular durability needs work. If muscle soreness, for example, you're going up hills, down hills, and you genuinely can't, like, you're struggling. When somebody said he finished destroyed, usually people are struggling. That means your muscular durability needs more work. So when you're going down hills, your quads give up. How many of you actually had after 50K, you were like, you know what, I can't, like, you have the lungs were and the heart were like, yeah, I can go, but your legs were like, no, I can't go. Can you write in the chat box how many of you actually had this experience of, like, you can feel you felt fit, like, you know what, yeah, I can go more, your lungs were cool, cardiovascular fitness was good, but your body, your quads in particular, they're like, no, I can't do this, and you DNF'd or you just carried on. Let's see. Mark, being able to handle distance and sustain effort. Yeah. Happened a few times. Had one. Yeah, it happened to, I think if you've done more than one ultra, even one, I think a lot of times it happens. And that's why you're going legs go. The majority of times it's legs go before the engine, and that's because the I would say not the majority, but a lot of times muscular durability is the biggest weakness in trail runners. Okay, more tired doesn't mean that you're more durable. A lot of times people say, "Ah, yeah, I'm tired and I'm getting fitter." It doesn't mean if you're tired, if you're fatigued all the time, you're getting more durable. Somebody told me he's a guy over 50, and he's like, yeah, that's normal. I'm 54, Alex. It's normal for me to be constantly fatigued, constantly tired. I'm like, no, it's not. It's generally it's just we internal. It's a limiting belief, but we say because I run the particular person said because I run ultras and because I do this, it's normal to feel tired after 50. No, I know plenty of 50-year-olds. Ken, as an example, he just finished a race, Captain Mountain in America, 80 miles, 34 hours. He finished strong. We had an interview today about his experience, and he's like, he finished strong. He literally said he could have gone more, and he's 58, 59 in 2 weeks. So there's plenty of people, but the problem is, the challenge is, people think that because they have this limiting beliefs and because they hear different people speak about that, but end of the day, the problem is the training. You're adding too much fatigue. And the other problem is most training plans, they don't build durability. So people get plans online, AI, and all that stuff. That's cool, but they're not building durability because you can use all the tools in the world, but you have to see how your running form is. You have to see there's so many variables of training durability. It's not more intense. Most training plans, they're focused on more intensity and more miles. And obviously longer and more long runs. So zone two, do more time on feed. I love this one. The advice that most people give is like more time on feed. Well, we spend time on feed. We walk every day. For those of for those of us who walk, we walk. We spend time on feed. And they say no. If you do more time on feed, you'll do great. If that was the solution, we wouldn't have people finishing destroyed, and we wouldn't have more DNF rates. I don't know the rate of how the DNF rates in globally or in Europe, but it's the same because running injury, 50% of runners get injured every year. That's data, that's statistics for the past 10 years. And the reason is there are different reasons, but the main reason is we are not taking into consideration what our weaknesses are, what our strengths are. And that's why most training plans, they don't include durability. And that's why people get injured and finish destroyed because they use training plans from the internet. And it's like, yeah, let's focus on more miles. Durability training is totally different, and the goal of durability training is to train when you're fatigued, not when you're fresh. Because that when you're fresh, everybody can do a 20K, 30K, 40K. Yeah, everything is good. It's very rare that you see a runner say, yeah, after the first 30K was a struggle. It's usually, yeah, after 50K that the problems start. But all the trainings, they focus on the beginning. So how we fix that is by working on recovery and let adaptation happen. Recovery is something that a lot of people miss, and something that Ken actually told me before we had the call. He said one day he was really tired. He had to go to work and drive and so on. And he said, he told me like he feels a bit tired. And I said, yeah, today's recovery day. Don't do the run. And he was like, no, but it's on the plan. It's like, yeah, we change. We need to adapt. And if you're tired, especially work wise, we have to take a step back. Because busy runners, they always do the opposite. They say, let me skip recovery, or the recovery is a recovery run, which is not a run because you're still adding load. And the misconception that yeah, we are going to spend more time on fit is not right. Finding your weakness. Once you find your weakness, if it's aerobic or muscular durability, it's easier to train because then you know, okay, I need to work on my aerobic. And maybe for the next 3 months, you work on your aerobic durability. And then the other 3 months, you work on your muscular durability. Or maybe for 6 months. You see, the challenge with endurance running, people jump and do all these races without having the strong foundation. And that's the biggest problem. They think, I've run a marathon, it means I can do an ultra, because in ultra you walk. Yeah, of course you walk, but yeah, you can finish destroyed, one, but second, your body can't handle the load. How do you find your aerobic decoupling? So basically, if you're using training peaks, there is a pace to heart rate ratio. If it's above 5%, you need to work on your aerobic durability. If it's less, it means you're fine, it's good. So if you're not using Training Peaks, you're using other software or platform, you can actually do a long run, 30K, and see how your heart rate is in the second half. So basically, what you do, you compare the pace to heart rate ratio compares first half of the run to second half of the run. What you do, you look at your data and say, okay, so my heart rate was X in the first 15K, and then my heart rate was Y in my second part of the run. And then you can see what's the number. Now, there is a caveat. If it's very hilly, if it's raining, if it's very hot, it will impact your heart rate. So if you do this test, when you do this test, you have to choose a terrain or a route that's not very hilly, very hard, or like very challenging. Do a 30K on quite flat terrain or a bit hilly. You have to see, you see, there's so many nuances in fitness. That's why it's hard to really say you should do this, because I don't know where your fitness level is. So going back to to this, most training plans are don't build durability. You can't, because you have to do a movement assessment. You have to do a fitness test to see where the other person is. And once you have the numbers, you can make better decisions. Once you know that, you do muscular durability self-assessment. So the first, what's the first thing that feels hard? It's usually quads, isn't it, when you go down hills? What we can do now, we can actually do a test. So if you can, you're so those who are not, well, I think not, can switch on your cameras. Ras DNA has 53%. Okay, so we'll do self-assessment. Stand up, and we'll see. Stand on one leg, barefoot. I can't see you guys, but those, if you can switch on your cameras, or if you don't, just stand up on one leg. We'll do a minute. We'll do a minute. Okay. Let me know if you're ready. If you thumbs up, if you're ready. It will be 60 seconds. Okay. Are you ready, guys, or not? I guess yes, because okay. So we'll do what we'll do. Ready? Okay. So what we'll do, we'll stand on one leg, bend the knee slightly, and we'll hold for 60 seconds. What you want to see, if your hips drop and your knee caves in. So this is what we do. Okay. One leg, and then bend your knee slightly and hold for 60 seconds without touching anything. So 1 second, let me put a timer. 3, 2, 1, go. Don't hold anything, bend the knee slightly and just hold. And pay attention if your hip drops or your knees cave in. What we will, if your hip stability under fatigue, if your hip stability is not good or not strong, it's probably a weak link. And after 6 hours on trails, you know how it will feel. Halfway there. 30 seconds. $15. Pay attention now. Now, if you're advanced and you've done this exercise, or you know, you can always add a dumbbell or a kettlebell or more load. I can see Barjomesh, you are not. 58, 59. That's it. Okay, can you write in the comments and be honest? Did your knee cave in and did your hip drop? No, that's good, Bruno. No, was all good. Slide twitch, no drop in the cave. Cool. Okay, so no, that's how my sadness. Yeah, it does. It does. Okay, so what it means, those who didn't who felt strong. You just need to add more load. Add more load, and then the second exercise that I would do is Copenhagen planks. We won't do it now because we don't have time. I'll show you. I will show you later um, how you'll find um, your strength in your adductors. Now you do. Now it means if you have imbalances, this is common imbalances: dominant quads, weak glutes, poor ankle stability, tight hip flexors from sitting all day. So if you're working in an office or you're sitting all day, you have tight hip flexors, and that's a huge issue with running because you know you're just it makes it worse. That's the truth. It makes it a bit worse, and we need to prioritize on not not stretching. We'll talk about stretching later, but on mobility. Now that you know, okay, so this was one exercise that okay, you know that you have good posture, you're stable. So it means you need to progress and do something harder. Again, going back to an assessment and knowing where your weaknesses are, because this is one exercise. But can you imagine doing 30 minutes of an assessment to see where your weaknesses are? So I'm sure adductors, most runners have weak adductors, so Copenhagen planks and tight hip flexors. So you do exercise and see, and based on that, you create a plan, you design a plan that will help you progress. Your strengths and weaknesses change the way you train. So let's say you have a diagnosis and you say, okay, this is what I need to do. These are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. And imagine working for 6 months on that weakness. You'll come out as a different runner, and then another 6 months you work on a different element. It depends. There's so many things like mobility, body composition. It's not just one thing. And the reason why I say 6 months is because we won't really see a lot of changes within a week. I mean, it's common sense. We all understand that. And that's why trail running, endurance running, we need a lot of patience. And a lot of people that DNF and don't finish destroyed, I think they're not patient enough. They say, okay, I'll do this training block 3 months, and well, it doesn't work that way. We have to think of endurance as longevity, as like, do you want just to finish races and by when you're 60 you want to be able to move? It's like I don't want that, and I'm sure most of you don't want that. I want when I'm 60 to be able to freaking run 65, 70. But if we just focus on I want just to finish races, well, it works against. So sometimes I think we need to take a step back and say, you know what, based on my strengths and my weaknesses, maybe I take a step back and I prioritize XYZ. Um, so this is the formula, running resilience training. So this is the formula that I use for all my athletes in the strong formula. So this is how you will build durability. But before we go into what it is, this is not stretching. A lot of times the runners say, yeah, I do a lot of stretching. Stretching well, it doesn't build strength. It's definitely it's not yoga, and it's not strength training by itself. And it's not what most people call mobility. It has a different name. Traditional strength training, they say you have to load a deadlift, a trap bar, and just do the exercises and get bigger and stronger. We don't want to get bigger and stronger. In this case, we want to be more durable. It's strength and conditioning designed by a running coach, not a strength coach. And the difference is you have to see what will help your running. This is the formula. You have three elements. You have durability at the top, you have stability second, and then you have mobility under load. The foundation is mobility under load, not just mobility and stretching, but you have to add load to your mobility so you have full range of motion. So there are three systems and they're built on each other. But here's the thing, a lot of times you want durability, but we can't train durability without having stability. And we can't train stability without having mobility. So another exercise that you can do, and if you want, we can do it now. You stand on one leg, barefoot, you close your eyes, and you see if you can stand for 60 seconds. It will check your stability. Do you want to do it to see? Um, put a thumbs up if you want to do. We can do it 60 seconds quickly on both legs. It's pretty simple with closed eyes, obviously. I assume you're not cooking. Here we do. Okay, let's do this. 60 seconds. So I'll time up, close your eyes, lift your leg up. And then once you lift your leg up, close your eyes, barefoot, no shoes. So 3, 2, 1, go. 60 seconds. And no, don't touch anything. Don't use support. If you can't do 60 seconds, it's fine. I'll tell you the time so you know, 10, just in case you drop so you know how many seconds you standed. 15, closed eyes. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 10 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Now change legs, the same thing. And then you 1, 1, 2, 3, go. Closed eyes. 10, 15, 24, 30, 40, 45. Okay. 50. 10 more seconds. Those of you who are. 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay. So write in the chat box how many seconds worth on each leg, right and left. Bruno had 20 seconds, 35 and 50. Lee, very good. Now, this is not to shame or to say, oh, these are my weaknesses. It's to find where you can train. So, for example, if you're 20 seconds on each leg, 60 and 60, that's very good. So, Alice, you would do what I would do, the progression of that, obviously a minute and a half, but the progression will be on Bosu ball. The Bosu ball, the thing that you stand on, 35 and 50. So, the first thing I would say, if you have two like big of a difference, obviously one leg is stronger than the other leg, so you need to work on that. For those of you who did 60 and 60, Alesh, 60, 60, but lots of shuffling around on like one leg. Okay, so Mark and Alice, the progression will be Bosu ball. Mark is a PT, so you know Bosu ball. So Bosu ball is a ball, and then you have the blue thing on top. Then you stand on one leg, the same thing, for a minute, and then you add a kettlebell and you switch sides. So you do this. You add more weight, so I don't know, 10 kilo kettlebell. So this will help your mobility. It will stability. But yeah, so this is another test that you can now. So it's like, okay, so for example, Christina has 35 and 50. That's it means you need to work on one leg more. Because if we okay, the reason why, if your one leg is stronger, you're going to overcompensate. So every time you're going for a run, Christina, you're constantly overcompensating. So your whatever leg it is, 50, for example, 50 seconds that we had, is constantly overworking. So every time you do a 10-kilometer run, one leg is kind of taking a rest day and the other one is overworking. Guess what will happen in 6 months? It will get injured at some point, and you'll say, let's say, it's because of this or that. But the reality is there are many nuances. So I'm not saying this is the case, but this is a lot of times what happens. Okay, let's go. So we have, okay, so you can't train, you have to start with the foundation. So mobility under load. trains full range of motion in conditions that match running. So, for example, you don't just do mobility for the sake of it. You have to push harder so you have full range of motion. So you know when you're running, your running economy will improve. Plus, you'll feel better. So full range of motion. You do deep single leg Romanian deadlift, but you go slow. You don't go, let me just do like I used to do in the past. It's like, yeah, I'll just do quickly 6. No, you go slow, you go deep, and you work on each exercise like you focus on the exercise and you take it seriously. So you work on hip hinge, you work on hamstring length, you work on your hamstring length, and obviously leg stability under load because you're using a dumbbell or a kettlebell. So a stretch will not load your hamstring. Hip cars. So again, this is controlled rotation. So you're not just doing stretching, you're moving your hips through range of motion. Plus, you're adding load. So you're pushing. So you're actively adding load. The goal is to build a body that moves well when it's tired. It's not just let me do this exercise. It's just for the sake of it. It's when you're tired and these are just 2 exercises. Obviously there are many exercises, but you choose the exercises that will help you perform better in everyday life and running. Okay, the second is stability. So this is where running specific programming comes versus generic gym work, or you put a training plan. Give me a training plan for runners from I don't know, from the internet. Cool. It's generic stuff, and generic stuff doesn't really bring results. More more exercises, traditional exercises, they don't focus on bilateral and sagittal movements. And what I mean is we have different movements, right? The traditional programming is always standing on 2 legs, and let's say you're doing deadlifts. I don't know why I'm doing deadlifts stuff. You're doing deadlifts, or you're doing squats. It's always one more. You're going forward or you're going backwards. But how do we run? We're not running we're running forward, but we have so many movements. Trail running is not bilateral. We're going right, left. We have uneven terrain. We're going up hills. We're going down hills. This is the opposite of what traditional strength training is. And running, one important thing, I think that we don't really think about it often, but running is a single leg exercise, single leg sport. You're never running with 2 legs. So if you think about it, you're doing 100K, you're doing 200K, you're doing 300K, you're running on 1 leg. So it's a single leg sport, really. That's why it's so important to focus on exercises specific to trail running. Not just, and there is marathon to road running, and there's trail running. Trail running is more complicated because of uneven terrain. So a PT, a strength and conditioning coach, he'll give you Bulgarian split squats, which is great. It's a good exercise. It's an amazing exercise, and most runners hate it. But with this formula, how I program, I'll add rotational split squats. The reason why you put the same demand on the legs, but guess what? You're making your core work as well. You work your hip as well. So when we run, this will benefit because most runners have weak core. But when you're running, what's the movement you're doing? You're using a lot of your core. Copenhagen planks, we won't do it because we don't have enough time. I would suggest you do after we finish the webinar. See how much can you hold, how many seconds can you hold. Can you hold the 60 seconds on full or on half leg? So this is half leg. To progress it, if you can do 60 seconds Copenhagen planks, do 30 seconds with full leg and see it. So after we finish, see, most probably, if you can do 60 seconds, great, do then half leg, and then add it to your program. Crucial for adductor strength, and it will help you with stability on technical terrain. Step downs, a single leg step downs with a slow eccentric. A lot of times, I'm guilty of it. I used to rush through my strength training applies. I'll just do quickly. No, you have to. It's better to do less exercises, but slow movements. Step downs, training quad control specifically for your descents, for your downhills. How do you choose? So you have an exercise and you say, okay, is this good exercise to help my durability? Well, You have to ask the question: does this match your trail running? That what am I doing when I do trail running? And when you think of this question every time you decide on your program, it's like, okay, yeah, it will help or not. Okay, so once you have mobility under load, you have stability, and then you come to durability. So durability is extending the work, is doing the work when you're tired deliberately. So a lot of gym sessions, you start fresh, right? You do strength training, you start the race, you warm up, you do the sets, and you go home, and that's it. But we don't want that during the race. We want to feel fresh when we're 60, when we're in 60th kilometer, 70th kilometer. So the way you do that, you do high reps. So by high reps, I don't mean 10 reps. I mean 40 reps. You do 50 reps. You don't do just, let me load up the trap bar or the deadlift and just do 10. You're not the bodybuilder, unless if you want to be a bodybuilder, and it's a wrong webinar. But you being here, you have to think, okay, let me do 40 reps. Like that's building muscular endurance. And most training plans, going back to what I said previously, they don't focus on 40 reps because 40 reps is too much. It's crazy. Why would you do 40 reps? Well, you're going to run 100K. You need to do 40 reps. You need to build muscular endurance. You're not looking to put on muscles. You're not in a bodybuilding composition. If you just Google bodybuilders, that's how where strength training comes, right? Body, and you see that they can't touch their shoulders. They can't they can't wipe their ass basically because their mobility is zero because they're so focused on weight and strength. There's zero mobility. There's zero functionality. Um, so the other thing to be more effective, rather than doing, let's say you don't have a lot of time, you have 40 minutes. Cool, great. What I do is I do a superset. And this goes back, it depends if the athlete is advanced or is just starting out. So I'll do a trap bar. Plus, rather than resting, I do a rotational split squat or Bulgarian split squat. So a trap bar, you're getting the strength stimulus, so you're building strength, or a deadlift. But if you're over 40, a guy over 40, 45, I would suggest trap bar, don't do deadlifts. And then immediately you perform a running specific movement that will help your running by doing adding more fatigue. So the pairing, the both exercises is intentional, it's not random. With some athletes that they're more advanced, they're like, I work with someone, with Hunter, and he's like, you know what? He's advanced. I'll add 3 exercises. So you do trap bar, let's say, rotational split squats, and then you do tibialis raises. You look at the muscle groups that you're working, and then you say, okay, I'm going to work this muscle group, this muscle, and this muscle group. And then you don't have rest really. Tibialis raises, you're not getting tired. And then you just move on and do the second set. Long runs are progressing to fatigue. So this is aerobic durability, how you build aerobic durability. But it's not just let me do long runs today and another long run tomorrow. It's doing intentional long runs when you're tired. So what I would say, let's do at night a long run, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And then in the morning, let's wake up at 5 and do a 6 a.m. run. And it's intentional because you don't have a lot of recovery. And then when you don't have a lot of recovery, obviously you're going to be fatigued. So you're doing a long run intentionally on tired. Then again, it depends on nuances. What's your race like? Are you running like Mark, race across Scotland? Well, based on his fitness, which I'll assume, Mark doesn't need 2 days to do back-to-back runs. He'll need to do 3, 4, because the race demands that, not because it's just fun and he needs more time on feet. And then you have to think, okay, does he do in the morning just back to back 4 runs? Does he do 30, 30, 30K? No, you have to see how you recover each day, and based on that you change. So the goal is always to train for hours and under fatigue and accumulate more fatigue, because you don't want to be fit just on paper. Because a lot of athletes, they're fit on paper, but they're not durable. For me, and my philosophy is like, I want to finish strong. I want to enjoy trail running. I want to love hills. Okay, some hills, I can't say all of them, but some. But it's enjoying trail running, finishing strong, and not just surviving these races. Um, but then how do you structure it? Because you're busy. I know you're busy. People say they're busy all the time. But you know what? And you know that. We all have 24 hours a day. And that's the solution. And Netflix series is 40 minutes, I don't know, 60 minutes, let's say. If you can do two sessions that are 60 minutes each week, you're winning, because you can just with two simple sessions, you can build so much more durability. And I live in London, and there's no hills here. There's Primrose Hill, but it's not a hill. And the only reason why I finish strong my race is just because I'm doing strength training, more than two sessions, but you can do two sessions. Okay, running resilience training. So that's the main system. That's the main system. But you're saying, okay, I need to add more strength training. I need to add more long runs, or whatever the objective is. How do I fit it in? Well, I always think that you can add. You can actually, you don't need to add. You can already use the mindset of 1% habit. So you use your dead time. So by dead time, what I mean is this: 5 minutes a day. That's 30 hours a year for free. And here's a secret that it's so underrated. So, for example, when you brush your teeth, what do you do? You're standing 2-3 minutes, hopefully twice a day, right? But those 2-3 minutes looking in the mirror, you can use and do tibialis raises. Just stand next to the door, the bathroom door, and just do 30 tibialis raises. You can get the lacrosse ball. Where is it? I had the lacrosse ball. I have somewhere lacrosse ball. Get a lacrosse ball and step with barefoot, obviously. Step on your lacrosse ball. Not just step like step, but feel a bit of pain to the right, to the left. Again, 2 minutes, 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night. You know how stronger your foot will be. You will work your intrinsic muscles will improve. I highly recommend walking barefoot, or getting barefoot shoes, Vivo barefoot shoes, not running, but walking. Your foot strength will improve. A lot of injuries, I'm not going to go into this topic now, but a lot of injuries happen because we have weak feet, because we have the shoes that we are all using, they're so cushioned. So to balance it out and to build your foot strength, which doesn't require you more time, you just walking home barefoot, or getting barefoot shoes. You will just improve. It's a byproduct of that. You will improve your running. You'll improve your running form and durability. Then with lacrosse ball, put the lacrosse ball on the side on your glutes as well. Most probably your glutes are tied, but push really hard. Don't be like, oh yeah, I feel a bit. You have to feel a bit of pain. Find the right spots when you're doing a cup of tea. I don't know if I don't think a lot of people outside the UK drink tea, but that's what came to mind, because when I do cup of tea, I do hip cars. While you're doing a cup of tea or coffee, whatever you're doing, stand on one leg and do hip cars. One leg, you move the hips. It's like you're waiting 2-3 minutes for the kettle. Full range of motion. Another one, calf raises on one leg when you see stairs. Every time I take Chanel, my dog, for a walk, while she does her stuff, I do calf raises, a single leg. It's like, until she does all the stuff, I do around 20-25 on each leg every day, twice per day. So it's like, I know it sounds weird, but once you get into a habit, sometimes when I'm waiting for cooking and waiting for something, it's like, yeah, there's a step here. I can do some calf raises. It's just finding this small little win, small little time that we're just standing, or rather than using, I don't know, our phone, Instagram, you can actually use your phone as well and do calf raises. But there's so many exercises that we can do that we don't need equipment. We don't need to be in the gym 8 hours a day. We don't need to. You can just get couple of bands, find couple of exercises that will work for you, and do them and rotate them. Do for the next 3 months, I don't know, tibialis raises. Then there's so many exercises that you can do to improve the muscles that we are not that are weaker. And that's where movement assessment comes. So I highly recommend doing a movement assessment, because we don't have time, but an athlete I was coaching, we did a movement assessment, we did a running form assessment, and we saw that we needed to work on his hips. And because he was doing a multi-day stage run race, the more load we're going to add, we're going to damage his hips. So we worked on that first. and improved. How do you add it into your weekly program? I can't say how to add it because I don't know your fitness level and I don't know what your schedule is, but you can actually, what I recommend, whatever you're doing, just think of, use common sense. Monday, I don't know, you have a run or rest day, and then you can do 2 sessions a day. You can do your run, and then you do strength training. You can do strength training, and then you can do your running. You can do, for example, you want to train when you're tired. It's something that I learned from I remember I used to hate Victor. He used to be my swimming coach when I was young, and he was Russian, and most probably, Russians are very strict, and he used to push me so hard in training. I was swimming professionally, and it was just like, I hated those sessions. But obviously now I understand why. Back then when I was 15, I had no clue. It's like, this session is like, just give me a, and you know how swimming is. So train under fatigue, but there's a balance. This is where coaching really comes. You need to understand where you reach the limit, because you have to challenge yourself, but not too much. A lot of runners, what they do, they challenge themselves too much and they go overboard. No, you have to find the optimal challenge, and that's where tools come in handy. That's where Training Peaks comes handy. That's where AI comes handy. You use tools to your advantage, but you need to understand where that challenge is. And every athlete has a different fitness level. For example, that's another thing. It's like, for example, I used to be a swimmer when I was young. So for me, certain things are easier. I don't even think about it. So when I run ultras, I'm already conditioned, because for so many years I did swimming and then I played football. And that's why my training reflects that. As an example, Kian just finished this Saturday a 30-hour race. 34 hours, not 30, sorry, 34. I made a mistake. He finished 80 miles. 58 years old. He had a surgery. He had back problems, and you'll see the interview. I'll upload it on YouTube tomorrow, and it's incredible. And we trained. The reason why he finished, and he finished strong, is that I could have done more. He could have done actually 100 miles. But you get these results by training with a system, with a structure. But the system needs to be built around your body. A system needs to be built around what your movement assessment is, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and structure around the time that you have. He is one of the most dedicated athletes that I coached, constantly waking up at 4, not every day, but like 4:30 a.m. doing all the. I think he missed like maybe one session in the past 6 months. Another athlete, Hunter, 120-kilometer race, 16th place. Incredible. And both of them have the same personality as me, type A personality. We need to do more, 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 more. And my job was to tell them we need to do less. And if you listen to his journey, how he trained and how he finished and all the stuff, you'll see. He told me many times, like, shit, so many times when you were telling me I need to do less, I was like, but why? But now that he finished, he understands why. It's not about doing more, it's being intentional. And that's the whole finishing strong mindset and mentality, is you don't want to finish limping and like tired and this race and and it's like, you don't need to do more volume. It's doing the right work in the right work at the right order, because sometimes the order might be wrong, because a lot of PTs, they tell me, oh, you should be doing strength training before running. I do the opposite. I do run and then I do strength training. But there's a reason why. But like normally, like, no, you should do strength training before. But no, I know the reason why. I'm doing my own stuff because there's a reason. I'm building durability. I want to finish. But that's why there are nuances. So should you do the same thing? Of course not, because your fitness level is different and we're not competing between each other. And my goals are different from yours. And that's the whole philosophy of Strong Not Destroyed. It's you sign up for a race to win the race, to win your own race, not podium. I assume not podium. Maybe some of you want to do the podium, but that's fine. For me, it's building a body that can sustain and finish strong and not destroyed. And if you haven't downloaded the ebook, I have a guide called How to Finish Strong, Not Destroyed. I highly recommend it. If you didn't download it, there are a lot of concepts that I think you will enjoy. And then if you don't want the ebook, I send every week a newsletter every Thursday. with ideas, tips. You can sign up just to get the newsletter. And the second thing, if you are preparing for a trail race and you want a system that's built around your schedule, your body, your goals, you can get in touch with me after the call. You can go to alexnavigator.com/hello. There's a form. Yeah, let's go into Q&A. So any questions that you have, shoot. Alice, great advice. That's good. What questions do you have? Let's see. Was everything like clear? Did you have questions? All clear for me. Thank you. That's good, Christina. What was? Yeah, go on.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I had a problem with my mic on the start, so I couldn't introduce myself. And I'm training for a backyard ultra, and it's on first of May.
Mhm.
So what would you say? As I started from like 2 weeks ago, I started doing more and more kilometers. So I now do like I usually run from 5 to 10 kilometers, usually on a road. And
Mhm.
now I started doing like 15, 18 kilometers, like almost every day. Like I usually do probably 2 runs, then I have 1 day of rest, and then probably like 2 more days of running. So would you say that's good training, or like what would be your advice for that?
It's 1st of May, like in 2 weeks or
Yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think now you should be kind of going down because you're close to race. You're going to start happening. What's
Nah,
your goal
yeah,
for?
yeah. I'm this week I'm running a lot of miles, like a lot of kilometers, and next week I'm resting and maybe do a run or two just to go out and like do a little shakeout run before the race. So this is like the last week that I will do a lot of kilometers.
What's your race goal? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to finish first? Or
No, no,
finish
no.
last? Sorry.
No, no, no. My goal is to do like I will be happy everything more than a marathon. So everything more than 42 kilometers, I'm happy with it.
Well, I mean, if you want to do more than 40, how long did you train for this backyard?
Like I'm constantly running for like 2 3 years. In September I did a marathon, so like I just continued from then, and as I said, like I do from 5 to 10 kilometers like every other day, and I play a lot of football. So like
Okay. Yeah, you'll do fine. It's only 40K. I mean, it's only because based on, you know, not that 40 is not a lot, but based on an ultra, 100K, you're doing 40, you did marathons, you trained for 3 years, you're playing football. Most probably you have whatever leg you're used to shoot, your leg is stronger. So you have a weakness there, most probably 90%. How many seconds did you stand on one leg, by the way?
with closed eyes to like 20 on both,
On
like about
both?
20. Yeah,
On both?
yeah.
Oh, wow. So usually how many years have you been playing football for?
Like 3 or 4. I don't play it like I don't train it. I'm a student, so we play a lot like for fun. Like I have probably 2 or 3 times a week played like for an hour and a half.
How old are you?
23.
Okay, it's fine. You'll do fine. 40K, you've run for 3 years. Yeah, 3 years you're playing football. It's fine. And when you're 23, your body is more forgiving, and you'll find out later when you're in your 30s and 40s that your body is not that forgiving as you grow older. When you're 33, you can wake up tomorrow and do an ultra 100K. Well, I'm joking, obviously, but you get my point. So at 40K, you'll do fine. Just rest
Okay.
before, obviously, next week.
Yeah, yeah. That I will.
And now, well, it's very good that you're at this age. I wish I knew the stuff that I know now at 23, obviously, but it's incredible that at 23 you're learning about durability. Yeah, if you continue running, you'll be a strong runner by the time you're 30, 40. Any more questions? If you want to learn more about training, there's a webinar that I did last month about more structure might help. But yeah, in terms of time, I think the most important thing is utilizing, like we said, your time and seeing where you spend most of your time, like how much is your screen time, because we all have time. You can do a session. You don't need to go to the gym. You can genuinely do a good workout at home. Buy some bands, buy a kettlebell, and then just squeeze in a session. 30 minutes, 40 minutes, a good session. While watching Netflix, you can do mobility stuff, strength, RRT stuff. It's not strength, it's not mobility, it's RRT. So yeah. Uh, so if you have any more questions, you can always message me. You can send me an email. But other than that, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here. And I wish you all the best with all your races. And that's it. Thank you, guys. Bye.